Canelo, I mean, unbelievable performance. Do you think it was more Canelo's performance, or do you think Smith just was way outmatched?
Well, you got to do the job. There's an old saying in the world of competitiveness, or the world of function, of doing things. No matter what the job, you got to get the job done. You still got to do what's got to be done. Whether it's a football team out there with a team that they're supposed to be able to run the ball on, you still got to block. You still got to take care of your assignments. You still got to hit the holes. You still got to do what you're supposed to do, even though you're supposed to do it on paper, and the opportunities and the advantages are there. You still got to go do it. And he went and did it methodically, broke them down. But again, Realville. We live in Realville, and this should not be compared to the opponent of Triple G. The opponent of Triple G, not knocking the guy, but just to make, again, the proper comparison to get to a strong point right away. It was like being in a store with a mannequin. I mean, instead of with a salesman. I mean, when you go in there, sometimes the mannequins look real. They do. And you get closer and you say, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a person. It's a mannequin. So Triple G had a mannequin. Again, tough kid, everything else. You hate to have to go down that road. To make the comparison, to make it clean, to make it clear, Canelo didn't have a mannequin. This guy was a guy who had a world title. I was the one who said on our podcast, that the biggest difference was going to be, one of them was going to be the difference of opposition. I mean, Canelo fought everyone, obviously. Who did this guy fight? He beat George Groves. But see, I never look at those guys over. I'm sorry, I'm not knocking you guys over there, my brothers and sisters from across the pond. But some of them, the European guys, they're just serviceable guys. They're tough. They're serviceable. Murray, good example. Grove, good, tough guy. But they're just serviceable guys at a certain level. They're not at that next level. They're not. They're just not. And I never thought George Groves was at a world caliber level. So when they say, well, he beat George Grove, first of all, George Grove had one leg in the shadows of his career. He was a little used up. But I never thought he was that level of a guy. So the guys they're beating over there are a little different than sometimes the caliber that we want to really be able to judge a guy on. And so I had my real doubts about just changing the level of competition. Just like when you watch, these games, whether it's college football, college basketball, whatever, you see these teams that are good, and they're good. They're beating everybody. But then they go to the next level to play Alabama and to play Ohio State and Clemson. And then all of a sudden you say, whoa, whoa. And he hadn't been in that level, Smith. And then, so that was my big thing going, handicapping it for the good people out there, was saying, look, big difference in level of competition here. Big difference. The guy has the physical assets. The guy's got the belief. Smith being the guy, undefeated, world champion. He's got all that. But reality can hit you fast. And he's 6'3". As I said, he's got good length. He fundamentally knows what he's doing. But it's a matter of being able to execute at that level. And he wasn't able. He wasn't able to take those physical – he wasn't able to make those physical assets that he had that we all thought would give him a chance maybe a little bit, even though I didn't think it was going to be competitive. But we all were hoping it would make it competitive because of those physical assets. But that was against a different level of opposition on a different stage. He didn't have the ability to take those physical assets, the length, the height. He could punch a little bit. He technically knew what he was doing. He didn't have the ability to execute those things on this stage with this opponent at this level. He didn't have the ability to make that equate into what it looked like on film with other guys. That's the best way to put it. You know, he again, Smith was not, but he's still a different level than the guy that's Triple G fought. He's a guy that still will be able to win fights. He's a guy that he hung on there, showed a lot of heart. He did land a couple of shots I took notice of because I want to see everything. He landed a few shots on Canelo. Canelo's got a great chin. If he landed those shots on lesser guys, he would have affected them. And he did. He landed a couple good shots. But Canelo is the full package. He's got the belief. He's technically gotten better. He's got the talent. He's got the, he obviously has the experience with top guys. So he knows that he can always win at that level. Smith went in there not knowing. And that's a big thing not to know. And, Canelo, dominant performance. And he's not in the same stratosphere anymore with Triple G. I know that's going to hurt a lot of the fans again out there, but I'm just saying right now, he's separated himself a little bit. He's at a higher stratosphere than Triple G. Triple G is older. We know that. I don't know how much he's lost from those tough fights that he's taken. He had 400 amateur fights. I don't know because you couldn't really judge from the last fight. But what I do know is that Triple G is not in the same hemisphere of ability at this point in his life. At this point of his career, he's not at the same place of capability that Canelo is. He doesn't have as much left right now. I mean, maybe he gets another fight and things change. Maybe. But right now, I wouldn't be putting Triple G in there with Canelo. And listen, Triple G right now, again, Realville. I think that I wouldn't make him a huge automatic favorite the way you might have one day at all now with a Charlo or with an Andrade. Well, Andre's a very difficult style. I don't think anyone wants to fight him because of his style, and you can't get paid a lot of money with him because his style is not the most exciting, but it's tough. It's effective. I don't know if you could just say, hey, Triple G wins with, again, whether it's Charlo or whether it's Andrade or, that kind of talent at the top of the division. I don't know. I know the fight that they all want is the big one with Triple G and Canelo, but I don't think Canelo wants that because I think he's kind of got the attitude, been there, done that, moved on, and he's in a good place. He's at a place where he just won another belt at 168 pounds, got another division, he's doing all these things. And at 168 pounds, he found a good niche. He found a good, comfortable place where he feels strong, he looked great, and he put all that muscle on. I don't think he wants to take it. It could be detrimental. It's not easy. I don't think he wants to take that muscle off. I know he could do it, and he's still young enough to do it. But I don't know that he wants to take that muscle off from 168 and drop down to 160. And especially when there's so many opportunities where, I got to say this the right way, I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but where honestly there's easy fights for him that are attached to belts that people put significance in. Whether it's a Plant, who's a 168-pound champ, or Saunders. I don't think they're the threats. They got the belt, but they're not the danger that could be out there with other fights. And I think he realizes that. I think he's smart, Canelo and his people. And they say, hey, we could get a belt. We could consolidate all the belts. We could fight those guys I just mentioned. And we should win those fights. I'm not going to say handily, but without too much threat. And maybe the best guy there, the most competitive one there, might be Benavidez, who maybe is the most dangerous. He's not as good technically as the two guys I mentioned, but he's better physically. He's a big, strong guy. But even there, Canelo's got a big edge because he's so less experienced and he's raw. He's a big, strong, raw guy. He's still got a little caveman in him. And, Canelo, well, Canelo knows how to beat cavemen, I mean, you take their club away, right? And you beat the caveman. So I think that fight's not, for the people that are still waiting for that ship to come back to harbor for Triple G and Canelo, I think that ship may have sailed.